Let your shoulders drop and feel your body settle into the deep support of the bed. As you breathe, the world around you fades into a soft velvet indigo. You are weightless now, drifting toward the pale, shimmering crescent of Enceladus, a moon of ice and ancient light. We drift closer to this ivory sphere, a silent sentinel orbiting Saturn. The surface is a pristine canvas of brilliant white, reflecting the distant sun like a polished mirror. Beneath us, the ancient, frozen crust reveals long, delicate fissures, deep blue fractures, where the moon's hidden heart begins to breathe. Notice the 4 parallel chasms known as the tiger stripes. They pulse with a slow, rhythmic energy. Saturn's immense gravity pulls and releases this small moon, generating a gentle warmth deep within. In this quiet friction, ice softens, creating a hidden sea that waits in the velvet dark. Through these azure cracks, a soft exhale begins. Water vapor and tiny ice crystals rise steadily into the vacuum, illuminated by the far-off sun. This is a cold, silent geyser, a fountain of salt and minerals, painting the dark sky with shimmering, ghostly plumes that stretch for miles. The particles drift slowly, escaping Enceladus's weak pull to feed the vast E-ring of Saturn. Each crystal of frozen salt and silica floats like diamond dust in the dark. It is a graceful, eternal exchange, a celestial recycling of matter as the moon exhales into the silent, comforting void. Far below the frozen surface, a vast, global ocean remains liquid and warm. This hidden sea is cradled by a rocky core where chemical energies dance in the darkness. It is a slow, rhythmic pulse of heat, sustained by the invisible hands of Saturn's gravity, pushing and pulling. Deep on the sea floor, hydrothermal vents glow with a faint internal heat. Here, mineral-rich water meets the cold sea, creating delicate chimneys of stone. Tiny bubbles of hydrogen rise through the dark, carrying the building blocks of potential life toward the cracks in the frozen ceiling far above. The journey upward is long and patient. These molecules of methane and salt travel through miles of tranquil, pressurized water, ascending toward the underside of the icy shell. There is no sound here, only the steady, slow movement of matter seeking the open sky through those luminous azure fissures. As the water reaches the base of the cracks, the pressure shifts. The rhythmic squeeze of Saturn's gravity opens these gates wide, then narrows them shut in a cycle that spans hours. It is a slow cosmic respiration, drawing the sea toward the vacuum in a gentle silver mist. Watch as the liquid flash freezes into tiny, perfect spheres of ice. These microscopic diamonds catch the pale, distant sunlight, glowing with a soft, ethereal amber. They rise in a steady, unhurried stream, part of a grand, celestial fountain that has played for millions of years in the silent dark. The ice grains drift further now, moving away from the South Pole's frozen breath. Some are heavy, falling back like soft crystalline snow to blanket the moon's surface. Others are light and swift, escaping into the great, dark embrace of Saturn's magnetosphere, joining the wide diaphanous arc of the E-ring. See the E-ring now, a diffuse halo formed from the moon's icy exhales. Saturn's distant golden light filters through this microscopic dust, creating a soft, hazy glow. These tiny travelers orbit in a slow, perpetual dance, a ghostly necklace of water and salt, held forever by gravity's invisible, gentle hand. This rhythmic breath is choreographed by the moon Dione, orbiting further out. Their gravitational tug-of-war keeps Enceladus's orbit slightly eccentric, ensuring the tidal furnace never cools. It is a slow, orbital clockwork, a dance of celestial bodies that has played for eons in the perfect, echoing silence of the system. Imagine standing upon the moon's southern pole. Above you, the plumes tower like frozen cathedrals, stretching hundreds of miles into the blackness. The sun is a bright, distant spark, casting long, soft shadows across the undulating plains of fresh, powdery snow, a landscape of pure, undisturbed silence and ancient grace. Within these plumes, we find more than just water. Microscopic grains of silica, polished by the friction of an underground sea, rise with the vapor. They tell a story of a rocky core interacting with warm water, a gentle chemical dialogue that has persisted for millions of quiet, rhythmic years. As the sun's rays filter through the towering mists, they create a soft spectral glow. Tiny ice crystals act as prisms, scattering light into faint washes of violet and amber. This slow-motion shimmer illuminates the void, a delicate masterpiece of physics and light drifting in the eternal cold. Among the ice and salt, heavier molecules drift long chains of carbon and hydrogen. These are the building blocks of complexity, nurtured in the dark warmth of the seafloor. They rise like slow-motion embers, carrying the quiet potential of a distant liquid world into the vast, star-filled night. The moon's crust flexes with every orbit, a slow stretching of ice that generates a quiet, internal warmth. This tidal rhythm is the heartbeat of the geysers, a pulse that repeats every 33 hours. In this steady tempo, the fissures breathe, opening their blue depths to the vast, cold starscape. Within the shimmering plumes, molecules of nitrogen and carbon dioxide swirl in a slow, weightless dance. They form a thin, ghostly atmosphere that clings to the moon's southern pole. This gas moves with a deliberate grace, glowing faintly in the reflected light of Saturn, a quiet veil against the stars. The heavier ice crystals eventually lose their upward momentum, beginning a long, graceful descent. They fall back to the moon like a silent, endless snowfall, blanketing the surface in a layer of purest white. This soft accumulation smooths the landscape, creating a world of velvet stillness and profound peace. High above, Saturn hangs like a golden anchor, its immense presence felt in every tidal tug. The planet's soft light, filtered through the rings, washes over the moon's fresh snow in shades of amber and cream. Everything here moves in a slow, silent orbit, a rhythmic dance across the void. Invisible threads of electromagnetism connect Enceladus to Saturn. As the plumes erupt, ions are swept up by the planet's spinning magnetic field. This creates a gentle, glowing bridge of energy, a silent current flowing through the vacuum, leaving a faint auroral footprint on the gas giant's northern clouds. Beneath the shimmering light, the geysers carry a subtle, salty mist. These are the same minerals found in the deep oceans of Earth, echoing a familiar chemistry across the cold distance. Sodium and potassium salts glow softly within the ice, markers of a hidden liquid world thriving in the dark. The walls of the blue fractures are lined with intricate crystalline structures. As vapor flows past, it polishes the ice into smooth, translucent glass. This is a slow, rhythmic, sculpting a quiet carving of the crust as the moon breathes its internal warmth out into the waiting velvet embrace of space. Deeper still, beneath the crystalline walls, the liquid ocean presses upward. Warmed by the moon's tidal friction, this hidden sea moves in a slow, subterranean tide. It is a rhythmic pulse of warmth and pressure, an eternal conversation between the rocky core and the frozen shell above. The rising water, rich with dissolved gases, reaches the upper limits of the fissures. As the pressure lifts, the liquid transforms, turning into a fine silver mist that climbs toward the stars. This unhurried stream of vapor is a bridge between the moon's hidden warmth and the cold velvet dark. Each microscopic ice crystal acts as a prism, catching the soft rays of the distant sun. They scatter light into pale rainbows of indigo and violet, glowing like embers in the velvet night. This silent fountain continues its eternal arc, a slow-motion dance of light and pure frozen water. As Enceladus follows its elliptical path, the geysers trail behind like a ghostly mane. This moon is the primary architect of Saturn's E-ring, weaving a wide circle of stardust. Tiny grains of silica and organic matter drift in the pale light, a rhythmic shedding of the moon's inner life. Imagine the silent descent of the largest ice crystals. They float downward like heavy, cold feathers, settling onto the ivory plains. This constant, gentle replenishing of the surface ensures the moon remains the brightest object in our solar system, reflecting nearly all the light that touches its pristine, frozen skin. The sun is a distant, brilliant spark, yet its rays are enough to set the plumes aglow, turning the vapor into pillars of soft gold. From the frozen plains, you see Saturn looming large on the horizon, its rings cutting a sharp, silent line through the velvet field of star. The tiger stripes, those deep fissures at the South Pole, radiate a gentle, invisible warmth. Infrared light, unseen by the eye but felt as a soft pulse, glows from the cracks. It is the signature of a moon that refuses to freeze solid, kept alive by the steady, rhythmic pull of its giant neighbor. In the quiet of the fractures, the vapor rises in a slow, rhythmic exhale. As the molecules meet the vacuum, they expand and cool instantly, forming tiny spheres of silver ice. Each crystal carries a memory of the salt sea below, drifting upward into the perfect, silent, star-filled dark. These salt-rich grains are heavier, lingering longer near the surface before being pulled back by gravity. They create a fine, shimmering haze that hugs the southern pole. In this quiet, weightless world, the minerals of the hidden sea are laid bare, sparkling like crushed diamonds under the soft gaze of the stars. The lighter grains carry complex organic molecules, long chains of carbon drifting like silent seeds within the ice. They float upward, weightless as a thought, joining the wide, pale ribbon of Saturn's outermost ring. Here, they begin a slow, eternal orbit through the velvet dark, cradled by the comforting void. As the E-ring grows, so does the moon's silent legacy. Saturn's golden light bathes the drifting ice in a warm sepia glow. This is the clockwork of the giant planet, where every grain of ice follows a precise, unhurried path, reflecting the sun's pale rays across the endless indigo night. Steady streams of water vapor rise in a slow, rhythmic exhale. It feels like a silent, weightless ballet played against the star. The plume catches the light of the distant sun, scattering it into a soft, pearlescent haze that reaches out to touch the very edge of the rings. Within the rising mist, tiny grains of salt shimmer like distant stars. These minerals, forged in the moon's warm, rocky core, rise through the ice in a slow, rhythmic stream. They glow with a soft, amber light, a silent testimony to the saline sea that breathes beneath the frozen crust. As the moon moves in its eccentric path, the tides continue, their slow, deep kneading. Saturn's golden presence dominates the sky, casting a warm glow onto the drifting ice plume. These tiny diamonds of water ice float in the silent vacuum, a shimmering veil of light caught in a perpetual, graceful orbit. Tiny molecules of methane and carbon dioxide rise as invisible companions to the ice. Nurtured by internal warmth, they move in a slow-motion ascent through the tiger stripe. Saturn's gravity guides these whispers of chemistry through the comforting void, weaving them into the silent, eternal rhythm of the shimmering ring. The heavier crystals of ice begin their long, slow journey back to the surface. Falling in weightless arcs, they settle like a blanket of fine, white dust. Over millions of years, this gentle snowfall has smoothed the moon's face, creating a silent landscape of pure, crystalline peace under the stars. This constant, gentle kneading of the moon's interior is a gift from the larger moon, Dione. Their orbital resonance creates a slow, steady pulse of energy, ensuring the hidden ocean remains liquid and warm. It is a rhythmic masterpiece of gravity, a silent engine driving the silver plumes upward. As these silver mists climb, they encounter the planet's magnetic field. Ions drift in slow, invisible spirals, guided by forces as gentle as a whisper. The colors shift subtly from pale white to a faint, ethereal blue, weaving a diaphanous tapestry across the velvet darkness of the Saturnian sky. The soft blue haze deepens as more particles join the ascent. Each grain of ice follows a curved path, governed by the silent geometry of gravity. This rhythmic eruption is an ancient, steady breath, a slow exchange of matter that paints the void with the moon's hidden, liquid secrets. Beneath the plumes, the tiger stripes glow with a gentle thermal radiance. These deep fractures act as geothermal vents, channeling the warmth of the interior into the cold expanse. Every microscopic shift of the ice is silent, a slow-motion adjustment in the moon's frozen skin, exhaling silver mist into the stars. As Enceladus orbits, the tidal dance continues. When the moon reaches the furthest point in its loop, the blue fissures stretch open. The geysers respond, intensifying their silver spray. This is the moon's rhythmic breathing, a slow-motion cycle of pressure and release that has repeated for millions of silent years. As the moon swings back towards Saturn, the fissures begin to narrow once more. The massive pillars of silver mist linger in the vacuum, drifting slowly into the E-ring. Sunlight catches the topmost spray, turning it into a soft golden dust that hangs suspended in the velvet, comforting silence. Each tiny grain of ice carries a whisper of the moon's saline sea. They move with a quiet, unhurried grace, guided by the invisible currents of Saturn's magnetic field. This is the slow, rhythmic clockwork of the cosmos, a peaceful exchange of matter in the vast, echoing silence of the void. Imagine a single grain of ice, a tiny sphere frozen instantly in the vacuum. Within its clear edges, molecules of sodium and potassium are trapped, reflecting Saturn's amber light. As it rises, it enters the moon's shadow, turning from a warm golden spark to a deep, cool indigo. Thousands of these indigo crystals drift together, forming a silent, ghostly river of ice that flows away from the South Pole. In the heart of the moon's shadow, the stars appear sharper, casting a faint, silvery light on this weightless parade of ancient water through the comforting velvet void. As this icy stream reaches the sunlit edge once more, the indigo turns to brilliant white. This cycle of light and shadow is part of the moon's long, patient orbit. For eons, Enceladus has exhaled this same salt-laden breath, a slow-motion rhythm dictated by the ancient, steady laws of gravity. Deep within the hidden sea, water is warmed by the moon's rocky heart. These thermal currents rise in slow, rhythmic spirals, carrying ancient minerals toward the surface. It is a gentle subterranean circulation, a patient movement of heat and chemistry that has persisted for eons in the moon's secret, silent dark. As this warm water reaches the underside of the frozen shell, it flows into the deep azure cracks. These fissures act as silver conduits, channeling the moon's hidden breath toward the stars. The liquid vaporizes in a slow, steady pulse, climbing through the ice in a rhythmic, weightless ascent. Emerging into the vacuum, the vapor flash freezes into a fine silver mist. Each particle is a tiny diamond, caught in the eternal tug of Saturn's gravity. They drift slowly, weaving a gossamer veil that joins the planet's outer rings, a silent testimony to the moon's hidden liquid heart. As Enceladus circles the golden giant, the plumes act as a spectral lens. Sunlight, filtered through the icy mist, creates a soft, shifting palette of pale amber and cool lavender. Each molecule of ice moves in a slow, rhythmic arc, part of the eternal clockwork that defines this quiet, weightless neighborhood. The moon continues its journey, guided by the silent pull of Saturn. Gravity is a gentle sculptor here, kneading the moon's icy shell and keeping the waters below warm. This rhythmic friction creates a slow, steady pulse, exhaling silver mist into the star-filled night in an eternal, weightless dance. Observe the swirling gases, nitrogen and carbon dioxide, forming a gossamer shroud. These invisible whispers are guided by the rhythmic spin of Saturn, spiraling through the void. They catch the sun's low rays, scattering them into a soft amber glow that illuminates the silent, weightless expanse of the moon's southern pole. Sunlight filters through the plume's summit, casting long, soft shadows across the ivory plains. The vapor, a mixture of water and organic salts, glows with a pale, spectral indigo. Everything moves in slow motion, a rhythmic shedding of the moon's internal ocean into the vast, cold, and comforting dark. Microscopic grains of silica, once polished by the friction of the warm seafloor, now drift through the azure cracks. They rise like silent embers, catching the distant sun's rays. As they eventually settle, they blanket the plains in a brilliant reflective white, a moon perpetually renewed by its own inner sea. Sunlight catches the top of the frozen fountains, turning the vapor into a soft golden spray. As the moon turns, this light shifts to a deep, ethereal lavender. Molecules of methane and salt drift within this glow, part of a slow-motion prism that repeats with every rhythmic, silent rotation. The golden giant, Saturn, exerts its steady, unseen pull. This rhythmic kneading keeps the moon's hidden ocean warm and liquid. Through the azure tiger stripes, a silent, steady stream of silver vapor rises. It is a celestial breath, contributing grain by grain to the vast, shimmering arc of the rings. Within the rising mist, complex organic molecules drift like tiny, silent seeds. They are swept up by the planet's magnetic fields, spiraling in slow, invisible patterns. This is a quiet, microscopic parade, carrying the essence of the moon's hidden sea into the wide, velvet expanse of the comforting void. The heavier grains of salt and ice eventually lose their upward push. They begin a long, graceful fall back to the ivory plains. Like a slow-motion snowfall, they blanket the moon in a brilliant white. This constant renewal keeps the surface young and shimmering under the distant sun's pale light. Beyond this ivory sphere, the moon Dione orbits in a silent mathematical resonance. This gravitational tether pulls Enceladus into a slightly elliptical path, allowing Saturn to knead its icy core. It is a slow, rhythmic massage of stone and ice, generating the persistent warmth that fuels the moon's eternal silver breath. The thermal energy, born from this gravitational dance, gathers at the southern pole. Here, the frozen crust is thin and warm. In the blue depths of the tiger stripes, the vapor begins its steady, rhythmic climb, glowing with a soft internal heat against the cold, velvet darkness of the stars. Upon reaching the surface, the rising vapor expands into the silent vacuum. It flash freezes into a fine silver mist of microscopic ice crystals. These tiny gems catch the distant sunlight, glowing like diamond dust. This rhythmic, gentle eruption is the moon's steady breath, exhaling its hidden life into the comforting void. The finest crystals are swept away by Saturn's immense magnetic field. They spiral slowly, forming a vast, diffuse halo of water ice that orbits the giant planet. This ghostly ring glows with a faint, ethereal blue, a silent testament to the moon's enduring breath, drifting through the velvet, star-lit expanse. Deep below, the hydrothermal vents continue their slow, rhythmic release of heat. Warm, mineral-rich water rises in patient spirals toward the frozen crust. This internal circulation is the moon's slow-motion heart, driving the steady, silent fountains that paint the velvet sky with shimmering, crystalline salt and ancient liquid secrets. The rising minerals meet the freezing cold of the tiger stripes. Molecules of methane and salt are encased in ice as they emerge, creating tiny, shimmering gems. They rise in a slow, weightless column, catching the pale amber glow of distant Saturn as it hangs motionless in the velvet dark. The columns of frozen breath stretch miles into the dark, expanding into a delicate, pearlescent fan. Distant sunlight filters through the crystal mist, casting long violet shadows across the pristine plains. Each grain moves with a patient grace, a slow-motion dance dictated by the ancient, steady pulse of gravity. Enceladus continues its patient trek, weaving a gossamer trail around its golden parent. The moon's icy exhales drift into the vast E-ring, where they become part of a grand circular parade. Grains of stardust and salt orbit in an unhurried rhythm, reflecting the sun's pale rays across the velvet sky. Observe the soft spectral shifts within the rising spray. At the base of the fissures, a deep crystalline indigo fades into a pale, translucent gold as the vapor climbs higher. These colors are the signature of the moon's chemistry, a slow-motion rainbow drifting eternally in the silent, velvet dark. As the grains drift further, they are captured by Saturn's immense, invisible magnetic fields. They spiral slowly, weaving a vast halo around the gas giant. This E-ring is a diaphanous curtain of ice, glowing with a soft, ethereal amber in the sun's distant, pale light. The gravitational pull from the moon, Dione, keeps Enceladus in a slow, rhythmic flex. This tidal kneading generates a gentle heat, sustaining the liquid ocean in the dark. Below the southern pole, the sea moves in patient tides, pressing against the ice and fueling the moon's eternal silver exhale. As the pressurized water enters the open cracks, it begins to boil in the cold vacuum of space. It transforms instantly into a fine silver mist, ascending through the ice in a silent, rhythmic stream. This is a quiet alchemy of pressure and light, repeating eternally in the dark. The silver mist expands, cooling instantly into tiny, perfect spheres of ice. These microscopic diamonds float upward, caught in the moon's weak gravity. They catch the pale, reflected light of Saturn, glowing like cold embers in a quiet, weightless fire that has played for millions of years. Gravity performs a slow, silent sorting of the plume's breath. Heavy salts pull larger crystals back to the moon's surface, while the lighter ice grains escape into the velvet dark. They drift in unhurried arcs, catching the soft amber light of Saturn as they join its vast eternal ring. Within the thin veil above the fractures, a faint glow emerges. Sunlight, traveling through the vast cold, touches stray molecules of nitrogen and carbon dioxide. They shimmer with a pale violet light, a ghostly atmosphere that rises and falls with the moon's slow, steady breath in the velvet dark. Through this thin, shimmering veil, the stars appear as soft, pulsing pinpricks of light. The rhythm of the geysers never wavers, a constant exhale that feeds the vast indigo sky. Each microscopic grain of ice begins its unhurried journey, caught in the slow-motion spiral of Saturn's reach, drifting through the comforting void. Deep within each drifting crystal lies a microscopic secret, tiny grains of silica, polished by the friction of a hidden seafloor. This mineral dust rises in a steady silver stream, carrying the chemical memory of the moon's warm interior out into the silent, star-filled and comforting dark. These microscopic messengers of stone and water join the great Saturnian family. Captured by the planet's vast magnetic field, they orbit in a slow, rhythmic circle. See them glow with a soft, pale gold, a diaphanous curtain of dust that weaves through the starscape in an eternal, silent dance. Enceladus orbits in a silent, mathematical rhythm, its path dictated by the massive weight of Saturn. This gravitational embrace generates a slow, steady friction within the moon's core. It is a quiet, internal warmth that rises through the cracks, manifesting as shimmering curtains of ice against the star-filled sky. Within these fractures, the light from Saturn's rings filters down, casting long, pale shadows of amber and cream. The rising vapor, rich with salt and methane, glows softly in this dim cathedral of ice. It is a slow, rhythmic exhale of chemistry, drifting upward into the velvet, silent dark. As the vapor escapes the blue cracks, it freezes instantly into a fine silver dust. These microscopic ice grains catch the sun's distant rays, turning into a shimmering fountain that rises hundreds of miles. They move with a quiet, unhurried grace, governed by the silent geometry of the moon's gravity. Watch as these frozen travelers spread into a diaphanous curtain, drifting against the deep velvet of the starfield. Saturn's golden light filters through the mist, casting soft rainbows of violet and amber. It is a slow, rhythmic weaving, as the moon's breath merges with the vast, silent fabric of the rings. Beneath the frozen skin, the global ocean moves in slow, rhythmic convection. Heat from the moon's rocky core rises in steady, warm currents, stirring the dark water with mineral-rich energy. This hidden sea is a silent, liquid cradle, pulsing with a gentle, ancient rhythm that fuels the geysers high above. Deep on the seafloor, hydrothermal vents glow with a faint internal fire. Warm, mineral-rich water meets the cold sea, creating delicate chimneys of stone. Here, the building blocks of potential life, simple organics and hydrogen, begin their long, slow ascent toward the frozen crust in a quiet, rhythmic dance. The rising molecules travel through miles of tranquil, pressurized water. It is a slow climb through a dark, indigo world, where the only movement is the rhythmic pulsing of thermal currents. Guided by gravity's gentle hands, these chemical messengers drift toward the blue fractures that wait high above in the frozen ceiling. As the water reaches the base of the tiger stripes, the pressure begins to drop, it transforms into a fine silver vapor, racing silently through walls of pale ice. This rhythmic expansion is the moon's steady pulse, a slow-motion breath that carries the ocean's salt into the waiting velvet starscape. Emerging into the silent vacuum, the vapor flash freezes into millions of microscopic diamonds. These ice grains catch the sun's distant pale light, glowing with an ethereal amber. They rise in a slow, rhythmic exhale, a shimmering fountain of ancient water ice stretching toward the stars in the vast, comforting void. This is the source of the vast E-ring, a wide road of ice crystals circling the golden giant. Each tiny diamond follows its own patient orbit, weaving a diaphanous veil of silver and gold. In this quiet, weightless dance, the moon's ancient breath becomes a permanent part of the heavens. The grains that escape Enceladus's weak pull become part of the great Saturnian system. They drift in slow, silent orbits, caught in the invisible web of gravity. These microscopic diamonds glow in the pale amber light of the gas giant, weaving a diaphanous curtain of ancient water across the velvet dark. This rhythmic dance is shared with Dione, an outer moon that pulls Enceladus into an elliptical path. Each orbit, gravity's hand kneads the icy crust, generating a gentle, persistent heat. This friction sustains the dark sea below, feeding the steady silver plumes that shimmer in the pale sun's distant gaze. Imagine the silent light of Saturn's rings filtering through the mist. The colors shift subtly from pale white to a faint ethereal violet as the chemistry of the hidden sea meets the solar wind. It is a slow-motion refraction, a peaceful shimmering of salt and light in the eternal dark. The organic molecules, long chains of carbon and hydrogen, rise like silent ghosts within the ice. They carry the chemistry of a hidden sea into the star-filled night. This slow ascent is a rhythmic exchange, a steady pulse of potentiality drifting through the cool, velvet embrace of the void. Every 33 hours, the moon completes its elliptical journey around the golden giant. As it moves, tidal forces shift, causing the blue fissures to slowly fleck. They widen at the furthest point, allowing the silver plumes to surge with a quiet, rhythmic intensity into the velvet, star-flecked night. As the moon swings back towards Saturn, the tiger stripes begin a slow, silent contraction. This rhythmic pressure narrows the icy gates, yet the mist already released continues its weightless ascent. These tiny grains drift through the indigo darkness, glowing softly as they merge into the vast, protective halo of the rings. Each microscopic grain of ice carries a frozen history. Within their crystalline lattice, tiny pieces of the moon's rocky foundation are trapped. These silica particles catch the pale rays of the sun, scattering them into a shimmering amber haze that dances across the silent velvet void of the Saturnian night. As these particles collide with sunlight and plasma, they shed electrons, becoming glowing ions. They join a vast, invisible donut of gas circling Saturn the Enceladus Taurus. This ghostly ring of water molecules pulses with the planet's magnetic heartbeat, a slow, rhythmic tide flowing through the silent, star-filled void. The sun, a distant pearl, casts a soft light across the moon's southern pole. It illuminates the towering plumes, turning the rising vapor into pillars of liquid amber. Everything here moves in a quiet, weightless rhythm, a slow-motion dance that has persisted for eons in the perfect, echoing silence. Beneath the ivory plains, the secret ocean remains liquid and warm. Cradled by a rocky heart, it moves in slow, rhythmic convection. This hidden sea is a world of perpetual twilight, where minerals and salt water dance in the dark, a silent sanctuary fueling the silver breath of the star. Deep within this hidden ocean, where the water meets the warm, rocky core, a gentle chemical dialogue unfolds. Simple molecules dance in the dark, rising in patient spirals through the brine. This silent circulation carries the moon's internal energy upward, a rhythmic movement that has persisted for millions of quiet years. As these warm currents reach the ceiling of the frozen world, they seek the narrow fractures of the tiger stripes. The pressure shifts, and liquid water begins its transformation into silver vapor. It is a slow, rhythmic transition, a bridge between the dark, hidden sea and the vast, silent starscape above. The silver vapor emerges into the silent vacuum, flash freezing into microscopic diamonds of ice. These crystals drift in weightless columns, catching the pale, reflected glow of Saturn. They rise in a slow-motion fountain, weaving through the star-filled dark, a rhythmic exhale of a moon that breathes in the comforting void. As the plume stretches high, a slow sorting begins. The heavier grains, rich with salt, are pulled back by the moon's gentle gravity. They fall like a silent, endless snowfall, blanketing the ivory plains in a layer of fresh, shimmering white. While the lightest crystals drift toward the ring, the escapees form a vast, diaphanous arc, the E-ring of Saturn. This wide ribbon of water ice glows with a soft, spectral blue, illuminated by the distant Sunday. Each tiny crystal follows a perfect, unhurried path, contributing to the grand, silent architecture of the gas giant's outer family, held forever by gravity. Dione, the sister moon, orbits further out, pulling Enceladus into a slow mathematical resonance. This gravitational tug-of-war keeps the moon's orbit slightly eccentric, ensuring its hidden heart never cool. It is a rhythmic masterpiece of physics, a silent engine driving the silver plumes upward into the velvet, starlit night. At the South Pole, where the crust is thin, the tiger stripes glow with a gentle, invisible warmth. This thermal energy, born from tidal friction, seeps through the blue ice, creating a soft radiance in the dark. It is a slow-motion heat, a persistent pulse that keeps the silver fountains playing. Within the shimmering pillars, individual molecules of water vapor collide and merge, forming a delicate, weightless mist. As they climb higher, the distant sun catches their edges, igniting a soft golden glow that stretches for miles. This rhythmic ascent is the moon's quiet masterpiece, played out against the star-filled dark. Among the ice crystals, heavier organic salts drift in slow-motion arcs. These complex molecules carry the chemical signature of the hidden ocean into the deep night. They shimmer in the pale gold of Saturn's reflection, a rhythmic shedding of the moon's inner life into the vast, silent, and comforting dark. These silver particles drift with a steady cadence, guided by the silent, unhurried spin of Saturn. Captured in the planet's vast, invisible net, they form a diaphanous veil that glows with a soft, sepia light. It is a rhythmic pulse of matter, forever dancing in the deep, comforting void. Deep beneath the ivory crust, the moon's hidden ocean churns in slow, rhythmic cycles. Warm, mineral-rich water rises from the rocky seafloor, heated by ancient tides. This subterranean sea is a silent sanctuary, where thermal energy and chemistry meet in a patient, eternal dance before ascending toward the frozen sky. As the brine enters the tiger stripes, the sudden drop in pressure triggers a rhythmic expansion. The water boils into a cold silver vapor, racing through narrow walls of luminous blue ice. It is a slow, steady pulse, a moon exhaling its secret sea into the infinite, silent starscape. Emerging into the cold vacuum, the silver mist flash freezes into millions of microscopic diamonds. These ice crystals catch the pale rays of the distant sun, scattering them into a shimmering amber haze. They rise in a slow, weightless column, a rhythmic fountain of ancient water ice dancing against the velvet dark. The ice column thins as it reaches further into the void, fanning out into a delicate, pearlescent veil. Above the moon's southern crown, the vapor moves with unhurried grace, a silent symphony of water and light. It is a slow, rhythmic expansion that feeds the eternal architecture of Saturn's ring. Saturn's immense, silent gravity shepherds these tiny travelers into the wide embrace of the E-ring. Here, they join a billion other crystals, each following an unhurried, circular path. The light of the gas giant reflects off their frozen surfaces, painting the void in soft shades of amber and pale indigo. Invisible lines of force link the moon to the golden giant. As Enceladus breathes, it sheds ions that travel along these magnetic threads. They create a silent, glowing bridge across the vacuum, a ghostly current of energy that whispers through the dark, rhythmic and eternal, pulsing with the system's slow rotation. Deep within the tiger stripes, the moon's surface flexes with tidal stress. These massive fissures expand and contract in a slow, rhythmic kneading, allowing the internal pressure to vent. Sunlight catches the blue ice walls, creating a soft, ethereal radiance that glows within the depths of the silent, frozen crust. As the vapor ascends through the icy canyons, it carries complex carbon molecules, building blocks of a silent, liquid world. They move in weightless suspension, lit by the pale, distant Sunday. This slow-motion migration is a rhythmic shedding of the moon's hidden sea, drifting through the dark in a graceful, eternal dance. Beyond the rising plumes, these particles enter the vast, silent theater of Saturn's orbit. Each grain of ice becomes a tiny satellite, drifting in a slow, circular path that spans years. The light here is thin and pale, bathing the moon's frozen exhales in a soft, ethereal silver. In this silver light, the smallest dust particles follow a rhythmic path. Grains of silica, forged in the moon's depths, join the dance, reflecting the distant star. They move with an unhurried grace, part of a cosmic clockwork that has turned for eons in the perfect, silent, and comforting void. Every orbit, the giant Saturn pulls on the moon's icy heart. This rhythmic kneading keeps the hidden ocean liquid and warm. In the deep blue of the tiger stripes, the vapor begins its slow, steady climb once more. It is a persistent cycle, a moon breathing eternally in the dark. As the pressurized water meets the vacuum of space, it boils and freezes in the same instant. This silver mist rises in a slow, weightless column, illuminated by the pale, distant Sunday. Each crystal is a tiny prism, scattering light into soft rainbows that drift through the velvet, star-filled dark. The frozen fountain continues its rhythmic arc, feeding the vast, ghostly ring. Grains of salt and ice move in slow-motion trajectories, governed by the heavy, silent hand of Saturn's gravity. They drift through a sea of amber light, part of an ancient clockwork that turns without sound or friction. As the plume reaches its peak, it fans out like a celestial flower, its edges blurring into the indigo night. Sunlight, traveling through 90 million miles of cold space, finally touches the topmost spray. It transforms the silver mist into a soft, glowing lavender, scattered by millions of microscopic ice gems. These lavender grains do not vanish. They are gently ushered by gravity into the vast circular parade of the E-ring. Each crystal finds its place in a slow, rhythmic orbit around Saturn. In this weightless silence, the moon's breath becomes a permanent, shimmering thread within the planet's wide, icy halo. Saturn's soft, reflected light planetshine washes over the moon's southern pole in shades of cream and gold. It catches the rising whispers of nitrogen and methane, illuminating them as they spiral into the void. This is the quiet, rhythmic chemistry of the system, flowing steadily in the deep, comforting dark. Deep on the floor of the lunar ocean, the pressure remains immense yet tranquil. Here, the moon's rocky core generates a steady, silent heat through tidal friction. This warmth rises in slow-motion plumes, a rhythmic circulation of ancient water, seeking the icy shell far above in the velvet dark. As these warm currents press against the underside of the frozen shell, they begin to carve delicate channels into the ice. This is a patient, rhythmic erosion, a slow thinning of the moon's skin. The hidden sea finds its way into the azure fractures, preparing for its silver ascent. Entering the base of the deep fractures, the brine feels the pressure suddenly yield. It flash boils into a fine silver vapor, ascending silently through walls of luminous ice. This is the moon's steady heartbeat, a rhythmic release of its hidden life into the velvet, star-filled silence of the void. As they reach the peak of their ascent, these ice crystals fan out into a delicate, pearlescent crown. They drift in a weightless, slow-motion ballet, catching the sun's pale rays. This is a quiet, rhythmic exchange between the moon's hidden heart and the vast, infinite, star-filled, comforting sky. Saturn's massive gravity acts as a gentle shepherd, guiding each grain of ice into its designated place. Within the vast E-ring, these tiny diamonds of frozen water orbit in an unhurried, rhythmic parade. It is a masterpiece of celestial mechanics, playing out in the velvet, silent darkness of the void. See the soft golden planet shine wash over the moon's ivory plains. It catches the rising plumes, turning the silver mist into a pale, translucent amber. Each molecule of ice moves in a slow, weightless arc, part of a silent, rhythmic dance that repeats with every steady, patient rotation. Within these rising plumes, molecules of simple organics, the messengers of a liquid world, drift in weightless suspension. They are guided by the steady, unhurried spin of the gas giant, weaving into a diaphanous veil. This is the quiet clockwork of the system, a peaceful exchange across the vast, starlit void. As gravity gently sorts the plume, heavier crystals fall back like diamonds in slow motion. The smallest grains escape the moon's weak grasp, catching the sun's pale rays to glow in violet and indigo. This constant, rhythmic shedding of matter feeds the great rings in a silent, eternal cycle. Enceladus orbits in a silent, mathematical resonance with the moon Dione. This gravitational tether pulls and releases the moon's heart in a slow, rhythmic kneading. This friction generates a persistent, gentle heat, sustaining the hidden sea and fueling the steady silver plumes that shimmer under the distant sun's pale golden gaze. Within the rising spray, microscopic ice crystals act as tiny prisms, catching the far-off sunlight. They scatter the rays into a soft, shifting palette of indigo and pale violet. This rhythmic refraction glows silently against the deep velvet dark, a slow-motion prism drifting through the weightless, comforting void. Beyond the ice, a gaseous exhale follows a whisper of methane and carbon dioxide. These molecules spiral through the moonlight, illuminated by the shimmering ring. This slow, steady movement is a rhythmic recycling of matter, a moon constantly breathing its hidden depths into the wide velvet expanse of the Saturnian system. The particles captured by Saturn's vast E-ring continue their unhurried, circular march. Sunlight, though distant and pale, filters through this diaphanous curtain, catching each frozen grain of water and salt. They drift in a slow, rhythmic parade, a quiet masterpiece of gravity and light within the comforting velvet void. Over eons, this rhythmic shedding has woven a tapestry of ice around Saturn. Each tiny crystal is a silent witness to millions of orbits. The moon moves with a patient, mathematical grace, replenishing the rings with its own essence, a slow, eternal contribution to the silent architecture of the cosmos. Beneath the towering plumes, the surface is blanketed in a fine, talcum-like snow. This powdery mantle has accumulated over millions of years, softening the moon's ancient features. In this profound silence, the landscape remains pristine and undisturbed, reflecting the distant stars with a soft, velvet brilliance that never fades. As the heaviest grains of ice begin their long, slow descent, they drift like feathers in a dream. Enceladus's weak gravity pulls them down with infinite patience, each crystal settling into the soft, white blanket of the plains. This quiet, rhythmic snowfall has continued for countless ages in the dark. Below the pristine white, the tiger stripes radiate a gentle, thermal glow. This infrared warmth, invisible to the eye but felt as a soft pulse, seeps from the deep cracks. It is the signature of a moon kept alive by the steady, rhythmic kneading of Saturn's immense, silent gravity. As Enceladus traces its eccentric path, the tidal forces shift with a predictable, slow cadence. At its furthest point from Saturn, the azure fractures expand, allowing a silver surge of crystals to enter the void. It is a rhythmic 33-hour cycle, a celestial breath that never falters in the dark. As the moon swings back toward the giant planet, the geysers begin their slow, graceful decline. Yet, the mist already released lingers in the vacuum, caught in a weightless suspension. Sunlight catches these microscopic diamonds, turning the silver plumes into pillars of soft, glowing gold against the velvet indigo night. Within these golden pillars, microscopic grains of salt shimmer like captive stars. These minerals, forged in the moon's warm core, rise through the ice in a slow, rhythmic stream. They glow with a soft, amber radiance, a silent testimony to the saline sea that breathes eternally beneath the frozen crust. Molecules of hydrogen and carbon dioxide rise as invisible companions to the ice. Guided by Saturn's vast spinning magnetic field, they spiral in slow, rhythmic patterns. This quiet, microscopic parade weaves the moon's internal chemistry into a shimmering ribbon, glowing softly with cool indigo light in the velvet, starlit expanse. Watch as the sunlight grazes the edges of the frozen plumes. The light travels through the crystals, slowing and bending into a soft spectrum of pearlescent white and deep navy. This is a quiet, optical dance, a rhythmic play of light and matter that has played for eons in the silent, star-filled void. These tiny grains escape the moon's grasp, joining the vast ghostly circle of the E-ring. Millions of years of frozen breath form a wide, shimmering ribbon. They orbit Saturn in an unhurried, rhythmic parade, a quiet testament to the moon's persistent pulse within the deep, comforting dark of the system. Saturn's magnetic field acts as a silent weaver, pulling at the charged ions within the mist. Oxygen and hydrogen spiral in invisible loops, dancing through the vacuum. It is a weightless tapestry of energy and matter, pulsing with the moon's steady breath, in the deep, dark and silent starscape. This silver fountain has played into the dark for eons, a persistent gift of ancient water from a moon that refuses to go cold. Enceladus continues its patient, weightless dance through the comforting void, replenishing the rings with a rhythmic grace that defines the silent, slow-motion clockwork of the cosmos. The glow of the tiger stripes radiates into the vacuum, a soft thermal signature of the moon's internal heart. Within the plumes, microscopic grains of silica relics of a warm, rocky seafloor drift in weightless suspension. They move with an unhurried grace, lit by the distant sun's pale amber rays. As these silica-rich grains drift, gravity performs its slow, silent work. The heavier particles begin a graceful descent, settling back onto the ivory plains like a rhythmic, ancient snowfall. They blanket the surface in a fresh, brilliant white, mirroring the golden light of Saturn in the deep, velvet dark. Beyond the ivory plains, the lighter ice grains escape Enceladus's reach. They drift into the E-ring, forming a wide ribbon of shimmering blue. Saturn's golden light filters through this frozen dust, casting soft, weightless shadows. Everything moves in a silent, rhythmic orbit, guided by the ancient, gentle hands of gravity. Enceladus moves in a silent, mathematical loop, forever tethered to its golden parent. This gravitational bond keeps the moon's hidden sea warm, sustaining a rhythmic pulse of life. Through the azure tiger stripes, silver plumes exhale steadily, painting the star-filled dark with a shimmering veil of ancient liquid history. Imagine the smallest salt crystals caught in Saturn's magnetic grip. They spiral in invisible, rhythmic loops, glowing with a soft, ethereal indigo. This slow-motion tapestry of ice weaves through the dark, a silent contribution to the system's eternal clockwork, pulsing steadily beneath the watch of distant, ancient stars. Sunlight, filtered through the vastness of the system, finds its way into the heart of the E-ring. It bathes the orbiting ice in a soft sepia glow, illuminating the slow, rhythmic rotation of each microscopic shard. Here, time loses its earthly urgency, replaced by the silent, eternal dance of gravity. This constant, rhythmic snowfall ensures the moon remains a pristine beacon of white. Grains that fall back settle in profound silence, while their lighter siblings continue an unhurried journey through the void. It is a slow, weightless recycling of water ice, playing out across timescales that transcend human memory. Deep beneath the ivory crust, the ocean's heart beats in a slow, rhythmic tide. Saturn's gravity acts as a patient hand, kneading the core to keep the waters warm. This internal energy fuels the silver geysers, which exhale steadily into the dark, casting shadows of indigo across the star-filled void. Within the plume, water droplets expand and cool, crystallizing into tiny, perfect orbs. They act as microscopic lenses, focusing the pale sunlight into points of brilliant amber. This silver dust moves with a rhythmic, unhurried pace, governed by the silent laws of motion in the deep, velvet dark. The vast E-ring, born from these icy exhales, shimmers like a diaphanous halo of indigo and gold. Each grain of dust orbits in a slow, mathematical rhythm, a silent clockwork circling the golden giant. Sunlight filters through this frozen veil, casting a soft amber glow across the velvet, weightless expanse. Molecules of methane and simple organics rise like silent embers from the moon's warm seafloor. They drift through miles of dark water, a rhythmic ascent toward the frozen shell. In this quiet, lightless world, chemistry performs a slow, patient dance, seeking the blue fractures that lead to the stars. As the pressurized brine reaches the base of the taiga stripes, it feels the sudden release of the vacuum. It boils and expands, racing through narrow walls of luminous blue ice. This rhythmic exhale is a silent silver pulse, a moon breathing its hidden life into the vast, star-filled dark. The silver mist expands into the vacuum, crystallizing instantly into tiny shards of salt and ice. They catch the pale amber light of distant Saturn, glowing like embers in a quiet cosmic fire. This rhythmic eruption is a masterpiece of physics and light, drifting eternally through the comforting starlit void. Gravity acts as a silent weaver here. The larger ice grains, heavy with salts, lose their upward momentum and begin a slow, graceful descent back to the white plain. They settle in silence, while the microscopic dust particles continue their weightless journey into the vast indigo arms of Saturn's rings. Notice how the E-ring forms a fragile sanctuary of frozen light. These tiny diamonds of water ice follow the moon's trail in a slow, rhythmic parade. Saturn's distant golden light filters through the dust, creating a soft, hazy glow. It is a silent world, where time is measured only in orbits. As the sun sets behind the moon's horizon, long shadows stretch across the taiga stripes. The blue ice glows with a soft, residual warmth, exhaling a final rhythmic breath of vapor into the night. This slow-motion cooling is part of the moon's eternal cycle, a peaceful transition into shadow. In the velvet shade of lunar night, the geysers become ghostly silhouettes against the infinite star field. Though the sun is hidden, the internal warmth persists, a rhythmic heartbeat pushing silver mist into the dark. These tiny grains of ice drift weightlessly, caught in the slow, eternal pulse of the system. Even in the lunar shadow, Saturn's reflected light bathes the moon in a soft, golden glow. This planet shine illuminates the rising plumes, turning the vapor into a shimmering lace of pale amber. Each tiny ice grain follows a silent, rhythmic trajectory, drifting through the comforting void like a slow-motion star. Guided by the silent hand of gravity, these amber-lit crystals continue their unhurried climb. Within each frozen grain, molecules of salt and ancient water ice are held in perfect suspension. They form a shimmering veil against the stars, a rhythmic, weightless bridge between the moon's hidden heart and the infinite comforting void. As these ice crystals merge into the vast E-ring, they join a billion other tiny travelers in a slow, circular march. They drift through a sea of pale blue and gold, guided by the silent pulse of Saturn's magnetosphere. It is a weightless parade, turning eternally in the velvet dark. Within the shimmering plumes, long chains of carbon and hydrogen drift like microscopic seeds. Swept up by Saturn's magnetosphere, they spiral in slow, rhythmic patterns through the void. This quiet, weightless migration carries the essence of the moon's hidden sea into the vast, silent, and comforting dark of the system. Each crystal of ice is a tiny lens capturing the sun's distant, pale fire. As they orbit Saturn in a slow, rhythmic circle, they scatter the light into soft washes of violet and indigo. This is the quiet clockwork of the heavens, moving in a peaceful, eternal, and weightless silence. The E-ring grows wide and diffuse, a ghostly legacy of water and salt stretching across the system. Tiny grains drift in the slow, amber glow of the gas giant, spinning in a silent, mathematical rhythm. This is the moon's enduring breath, woven into the velvet fabric of the comforting void. Every 33 hours, the moon completes its silent loop, its icy crust stretching under the gentle pull of Saturn. This rhythmic flexing keeps the internal fires burning, a slow and steady warmth that fuels the silver geysers. The blue cracks breathe once more, releasing a shimmering mist into the starlit void. High above the fissures, the vapor cloud thins into a ghostly veil. Molecules of oxygen and water drift in weightless suspension, lit by the pale distant Sunday. This slow, rhythmic expansion is a quiet bridge between the moon's hidden heart and the infinite, comforting dark of the star-filled system. As the moon drifts into the massive shadow of Saturn, the golden light of the sun is eclipsed. The plumes turn a cool, translucent indigo, merging with the velvet dark. This rhythmic passage between light and shadow is a silent, eternal grace, a slow-motion transit through the comforting, star-flecked void. In the deep shadow, the geysers continue their steady, silent work. Gravity's invisible pull guides the ice crystals in a slow, weightless dance. Within this indigo silence, the rhythmic pulse of the moon's hidden heart remains a constant, a quiet, enduring breath that replenishes the vast, starlit E-ring in the perfect darkness. The particles of the E-ring continue their silent march, a ghostly halo held by the golden giant. Sunlight returns in a slow amber wave, turning the frozen dust into shimmering diamond. This is the pulse of the system, a quiet, weightless rhythm that has turned for eons in the comforting void. The geysers maintain their steady, rhythmic exhale, a bridge between the hidden ocean and the infinite star. In this weightless sanctuary, the moon's heartbeat pulses with the same quiet energy that forged the planet. We watch the silver mist drift, a final, shimmering breath, before the deep, velvet stillness takes hold. Our journey among the ice plumes comes to a gentle halt. As you drift home, remember you are made of the same stardust that orbits Saturn. Feel the moon's internal warmth reflected in your own quiet rest. Sink into the velvet silence of the void. You are safe. Good night.